Chad Wars. Alexander Hernandez versus Drew Dober takes place in what should be the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Jacksonville Florida Smith versus Teixeira. I can't wait for this fight. I have no idea why Rothwell versus OSP is the co-main event. Chad Wars should take place as the co-main event. The War of the Chads. Drew Dober versus Alexander Hernandez. It doesn't get much better than that. I like the fight. Originally, Drew Dober was supposed to be fighting Diego Teixeira. Originally, Alexander Hernandez was supposed to be fighting Islam Makhachev. I like that we've found each other here now that Makhachev and Diego Teixeira are both out of the fights. They can't compete. So you know what? Let's mix and match. Hernandez versus Dober. It makes sense. It's a great matchup. It should be co-main event because it's way more interesting than OSP versus Rothwell. Not to mention that Hernandez is ranked and neither OSP or Rothwell is either. So Hernandez versus Dober should be the co-main event in my opinion, but let's get right into the prediction. We've got a mind change on our hands. I think Hernandez is going to beat him. I thought Dober was going to win this one. I really did. And then I started looking through Dober's career and I've only sort of remembered Dober for recent performances. A big win against Nasrat Haqparast, which was a big shocker because Nasrat Haqparast was seen as the next guy to come up. The young, lightweight Kelvin Gastelum. He's a dangerous guy. He was destroying everyone. He just had a big KO over a big name. I can't remember. I think it was Joaquim Silva. He got a big KO over. Everyone was singing his praises. Drew Dober got the call. Said, hey, do you want to be the sacrificial lamb to make Nasrat Haqparast look really good? That really backfired. Drew Dober caught him on the chin. But then I think to myself, does Drew Dober have KO power? Because I know he does. And I know he's rocked some good guys. But he's rocked Beneil Dariush. Welcome to the fucking club. Because everyone who fights Beneil Dariush rocks him at some point. And then he beat Nasrat Haqparast. I completely understand. I'm just saying, when I look at some of these other wins on his resume, I know he beat Paulo Reyes, but I also know that Paulo Reyes was 8-5. And I think is now 8-6. It's an absolute embarrassment. But either way, he beat John Tuck by decision. What happened there? That was closer to his prime. Is he better now than he was when he was 31 or 32? I don't know. All I'm trying to say is, I'm looking at some of these other wins on Drew Dober's record. And first of all, this is an amazing fight. But a decision to Frank Camacho. A decision to Josh Berkman. No, he won that one by KO, I'm sorry. But then, you know, a loss to Olivier Aubin-Mercier by rear naked choke where he got out-grappled. Hernandez had no bad moments against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. I know it wasn't the most active fight. It wasn't the most interesting fight between Hernandez and Olivier Aubin-Mercier. However, you gotta say, Hernandez controlled the fuck out of him. Although it wasn't the most entertaining, he got the job done. I'm just saying, I don't think too much can be drawn from Hernandez's last performance, which is what I kind of did when I first saw this fight, because as we said, Hernandez tore his shoulder out of place against fucking Francisco Trinaldo. It was a close fight. I thought Hernandez got the job done. The strikes agree with me, although people seem to mention, oh, this guy was moving forward, and, you know, I get that as well. There's an argument. It was a split decision. That's what split decisions are. There's an argument for both guys. I thought Hernandez got the job done. When both guys in that fight between him and Trinaldo were doing nothing, Hernandez was doing the feints, the little jabs that might be glancing, but there's still points. Like, it's just, Hernandez was just being a little bit more active for me. But either way, I think Hernandez is going to come back in good form. He's taken a lot of time off. He was signed to fight Makhachev, which tells me that he is feeling very confident about himself right now. I think he's going to beat Drew Dober. I don't know how. I think he's going to I do know how. I think he's going to control him by grappling him for 3 rounds. I don't think this fight is going to take place on the feet, which I originally thought it would because I saw Hernandez as a bit of a striker. When Hernandez came into the UFC, he KO'd Beneil Dariush in the first round and everyone thought, oh my god, this is the next TJ Dillashaw at lightweight. What the fuck are we going to do about this guy? His footwork is crazy, that KO power. And then you realised, oh, hang on a second. That happened once in his career, and all the other times he's just kind of out-grappled everyone and dominated them in the wrestling because he's so physically stronger. So much physically stronger. But I don't think that Dober's going to beat him. I don't think Dober's going to be given the opportunity to defeat him. I think Hernandez is going to go out there, make this very boring, so I'm actually kind of okay that it isn't the co-main event, and just out-grapple Drew Dober against the cage, because Drew Dober, when he gets scooped up against the cage, he kind of loses a bit of hope. That first round power that he has kind of diminishes as the rounds go on. He's got a lot of muscle mass. He cuts a lot of weight. And during the pandemic right now, when you've got no nutritionist, no team behind you, other than a few select members of your team, of course, no fucking UFC PI to tell you exactly what to eat at what time of day, it's going to be a bit of a problem to make that weight cut, and I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Dober misses weight here, because he is a big guy for the division. I think he might cut the most weight in the division. I'm just going to hazard a guess there. It's either him or Khabib, or maybe Makhachev. Who knows? But Drew Dober's a big boy, and cutting weight right now is going to be a big problem. Hernandez is a big boy as well, however he handles that weight cut much better than Dober is, and he's a little bit smaller. Also, Hernandez is a shorter man with a longer reach advantage. I'm just saying things are going to get a little bit interesting here. Hernandez has a 2-inch reach advantage. He's also taller, sorry. I didn't know that. I thought Hernandez was shorter than Dober. I don't think that Dober is 5'8". I'm pretty sure that's wrong. They're the same height. I'm going to disagree with all the facts. They're the same height, but Hernandez has a longer reach. I think that's going to favour him a little bit, I would say. I think that's going to just add into his wheelhouse of tricks that he can use in this fight. He likes a little bit of footwork. He never stays still. He's not going to load up and swing with you, which is kind of what Dober wants. And you can kind of see it from... To be honest with you, with the Dober versus Nasrat Haqparast fight, I know that Nasrat Haqparast got caught, but he kind of was being dumb, if you know what I mean. Maybe feeling himself a little bit too much, Nasrat Haqparast, because he was throwing naked leg kicks, square up with his opponents, like no regard for anything that Drew Dober was going to throw back, and Drew Dober reminded him very viciously, hey, I'm Drew Dober, I can KO guys in the first round. Doesn't matter how shit they are, I can do it to you as well. I've got power. I think Hernandez knows that power is there. I think he's going to go out there, do a little bit of fancy footwork like he does, like he's going to start being a bit of a TJ Dillashaw, and then all of a sudden, he is going to be TJ Dillashaw, but against John Lineker. If you know what I'm saying. He's going to do a bit of a swishy. When's the head kick coming? Oh, it's a double leg. First round over, Hernandez has ground Dober into the cage like he did against Olivier Aubin-Mercier, where Dober couldn't do that in the grappling exchanges, showing to me that Hernandez, and also Olivier Aubin-Mercier fought Drew Dober and Hernandez quite close to each other as well, within a year of each other, I believe. So that's kind of the same Olivier Aubin-Mercier. You can't, it's not like Dober fought him when Olivier was fucking rising up, destroying everyone, and Hernandez got him afterwards. Like, it's a year apart from each other. We're not talking two different ends of his career for Olivier Aubin-Mercier. OAM, I'll call him for short. That seems a little bit more easy. I think that Hernandez knows where the threats are. He knows that in the first round there's a chance that Dober can catch him and put him out. And I think he's going to go out there and just completely grapple him against the cage. Probably get separated a few times, but just be active enough to keep him there in that first round. Drain his arms out from pummeling for underhooks. Hernandez is very relentless in his wrestling, and a lot of guys watch him strike, and they watched his last performance against Trinaldo and thought, why isn't he wrestling? He fucking destroyed his shoulder completely, and now he's back, now he's healthy. I think he can put the smush on Drew Dober, so we got a change of minds, and I think it's going to be an amazing fight come the second round. But that first round is going to be all Hernandez completely out wrestling Drew Dober. And if Dober goes out there and KOs Hernandez, I'm going to be very upset because I've changed my mind. Very upset, and I'll look like a fool right now in hindsight, but either way, I think Hernandez is going to get this done upon some further research. Hernandez gets it done, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to finish Drew Dober. I don't think he's going to do that at all. I think he's going to out-wrestle Drew Dober in that first round, out-wrestle him in the second round until he doesn't feel like it anymore, and then once he's comfortable that Dober is no longer a threat on the feet, he's going to start to work his footwork, his fancy jab, his little switches that he does, and he's going to start to run away with a decision while Drew Dober swings at fucking thin air. He's not going to hit Hernandez after the second round, and he has one round to do it. Hernandez knows that. Hernandez is a better grappler. He's going to go out there and do what he needs to do and not get caught up in a firefight like Nasrat Haqparast. Yeah, I just looked through Dober's recent wins. They're really good, but they're not. Other than Nasrat Haqparast, who has Drew Dober beaten? Paulo Reyes, currently 8-6. John Tuck, by decision. You know, Frank Camacho, by decision. I think we're all kind of under the guise of Drew Dober's recent performance. Like, oh my god, where is this monster come from? He just KO'd Haqparast. And we don't realise that, oh, hang on. KOs can happen, and if Beneil Dariush didn't recover in time, Dober would also have KO'd him, because that was a very close fight in that first round where Dober was kind of just piecing him up a bit. I think Hernandez is going to go out there, know exactly what Dober brings to the table, and just grapple the fuck out of him. And the winner of this fight is in a very good position. And the winner of this fight, in my opinion, if they don't do Charles Oliveira versus Diego Ferreira, the winner of this fight could then get Diego Ferreira. Because if it's Drew Dober, you get the same matchup we were promised before, which was a great fight. But now we get it when Drew Dober is ranked, which would be way better, in my opinion. And it would make more sense because Drew Dober would be higher up the rankings and would be getting an opportunity that he kind of deserves. I don't think a lot of people saw the Ferreira versus Dober fight and thought, oh, that makes sense. You know, Dariush is waiting there who beat Dober. You know, like, they kind of were shitting on Dariush. They were shitting on some other guys that deserved to jump up the rankings, but they gave it to Dober. But it was a good fight. So if they want to remake that one, if Dober wins, I'm okay with it. But for Hernandez, if he wins this one, I think he doubles down on Makhachev. Because if he goes out there and completely smushes a dangerous guy in Drew Dober, it's a good fight between him and Makhachev. And it's no longer a joke because I picked Hernandez to beat Makhachev the first time. I thought he was going to be a little bit weird on the feet. Makhachev is seemingly too okay not to use his grappling that he has on guys. He seems to be okay to stay on the feet in that first round, and I thought Hernandez might have a good chance to catch him because Hernandez was a heavy underdog. But if Hernandez goes out there and beats Drew Dober, I want to see him versus Makhachev on the main card of Khabib versus, fingers crossed, Ferguson at the end of the year, whenever Khabib wants to come back. I mean, that's a great fight. I think Hernandez is going to win. He's a little bit too good on the feet. He never sits in the pocket in exchanges. A lot of times guys have to catch him like Cerrone did. Coming in or coming out is the only time you're going to catch Alexander Hernandez. And maybe I should have mentioned this earlier in this fucking video rather than talking about Chad Wars for about 10 minutes. But either way, coming in and coming out is the only way you're going to catch Alexander Hernandez. And Donald Cerrone figured that out real quick. Hernandez is never still. He's in or he's out. You know? He's moving in or he's moving out. He's never in there loading up with his feet planted, trying to swing with you. And Cerrone figured that out. He said, you know what? When Hernandez comes in, I'm going to throw a knee. When he goes out, I'm going to throw a head kick. He's going to walk into one of them. He walked into both and it finished him. I just don't think that Dober has that versatility in his game. I think he's a little bit punch heavy and he wings those haymakers. I think that's just going to be a little bit tough when you've got Hernandez looking to duck under him and go for double legs. I don't think Hernandez is going to try and out-macho Drew Dober on the feet and try and be the bigger man here. I think he's smart enough to know what he does well, and he's going to smush Dober in that first round, removing any threat of a KO whatsoever, and then dance around him for the last two and get the big win, talk some shit to Makhachev on the mic. Sounds good to me. Or maybe call out Paul Felder. Who knows? Because I know Paul Felder might be working that event on the commentary and might actually have the mic in his hand. Ooh, Hernandez could be in a great spot. Great spot because Paul Felder might be working that event. I know he said he was going to be working the Jacksonville event, or he might be working the Jacksonville events, and he was worried about being tested for COVID-19 and all this kind of shit. There was an article that came out about it. So if Paul Felder's the guy with a microphone, hey, what do we know? The guys that have called out Paul Felder to his face before have got the fight. Ask Dan Hooker. Maybe Hernandez could earn himself a big jump up those rankings with a direct call out to Paul Felder, who has a microphone right in front of him. I'm not saying he'd beat Paul Felder. I think Felder would maybe work on him, but just saying, Hernandez has a real good opportunity, and I think he's going to win the fight. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. It's a great fight. Hopefully, I don't mind whoever wins, because both of them have a chance to go forward. I actually would maybe rather the Dober wins. I know... who am I kidding? I want Hernandez to win, because he's going to be a much bigger name. He talks a lot of shit. He has a knack to annoy everyone with every word that comes out of his mouth, which I love because he knows he's doing it. If someone wants to be liked, they can be liked. It's very easy. Ask John Jones. Yeah, like he can put up that facade while he's fucking helping out the homeless late at night. You know what I mean? Like anyone can be nice in front of the cameras, but Alexander Hernandez, I don't think he cares. I think he just says what he wants. People get annoyed. He's cool with it. I like Hernandez. I hope he wins. But I also don't want to see Dober just lose his career. Because I do understand that Dober is how old now? 31? You know, if he loses this one, he's soon going to be 32. And then you're looking at trailing away. And when you're unranked, fair enough if he was ranked with this big win at 31 years of age and had that momentum going forwards. But if he loses this one, what? Is he going to have to win 2 more? To get another jump up the rankings? How much longer is that going to take? How much more of Drew Dober do we have in his career? Because he's been around for a very long time. He's very He's very fucking experienced in the game. This isn't a normal 31-year-old's career. I mean, he's been in the MMA game since when? He won all of his amateur fights in 2006. Jesus, he's been around for a long time. And he had 8 amateur fights. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't actually know that. It's a lot. I just think that Hernandez is going to beat him. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Click that button there. Goodbye. Hernandez by decision. Unanimous. 30-27. And then him versus Makhachev or Felder. We'll see.